Hello folks, this is Tom from anti-proton.com, and this is the PoliMaster PM1703 GNB. This is a replacement for my previous unit which had a problem. So this unit right here is slightly different from the one I had before. It has a neutron detector built into it, so it can detect neutrons. It also has a gamma spectrometer built into it, so it can do gamma spectroscopy. And it has the ability to do scintillation counting with gamma and neutrons, except with the neutrons it's not really a scintillator, I don't believe. It's a lithium-6 iodide europium-doped detector built into this. It has a little Geiger counter, and it has a cesium iodide thallium-doped detector. So pretty crazy stuff right here. This is amazing, this little thing. So we're going to use it, and we're going to look for some naturally occurring neutron sources. The reason I say this is because I've already received messages from people talking about neutron sources, both emails and messages in my videos, and they keep reminding me that neutron sources are dangerous and not to build them, that sort of thing. And I agree with you completely, by the way. Do not build a neutron source. Not only is it dangerous, it's also illegal. You can buy them, but you usually need special licensing for the majority of them. So what's nice is if we can find some naturally occurring neutron sources that are safe. They'll be weak, but they'll also be something we can use without having any danger, or without breaking any rules. And you know about rules and me, I try to steer clear and go along the legal route. For example, I'm always yelling at people about not opening up smoke detectors, right? Don't do that, by the way. Alright, so we're going to do this the nice, legal, legit way. So here's the unit. It's currently connected to this old PDA. You can use a new PDA if you want to, or a computer connected with a Bluetooth and so on. It can do all kinds of things. I just like this old PDA because it's disposable. If it falls over and gets smashed, nothing bad will happen. As you can see right now, this is currently detecting gamma rays, and it's detecting neutrons. 0 neutrons per second, 13 gamma rays per second. That's pretty sensitive, right? What you see here. It says 0 neutrons per second. It's actually less than that. It's 0.1 neutrons per second, a tenth of a neutron. This device is capable of doing gamma spectroscopy, so we can take a spectrum of a sample, and we can also see our dose rate. For example, measurement gamma, we see our dose rate is currently 0.09 microsieverts per hour, right? Alright, so let's take this, put it inside its little baggie. The reason we're putting it in the baggie is to keep it from getting any uranium powder on it or anything like that as we're testing samples, right? Because we don't want to actually have to clean this thing off. Let me try to adjust this so you can see it. You probably won't be able to see the screen on it, but that's okay because you can see the screen on this. And they're the same basic thing. So I'm going to stick this little piece of cardboard underneath it, and the reason is the cardboard will adjust the level of this thing so that the uranium samples sit on it better. Now I have this ludlum behind it. 0, it's sometimes 100 mode. So 0, 0, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. I don't know why I kept trying to say 100,000. I have no idea, but I just kept trying to do that. Alright, now I did get this little thing, and according to Federal Trade Commission rules, since I got this for free, I need to tell you that I got it for free before I do any kind of review of it, because if I don't, that would break the rules, right? So I've told you, so now I'm not breaking the rules, so there you go. I got this little guy for free to test it out and see how it functions. You could argue that because the previous unit actually had this functionality built into it, maybe you could argue that it should have been given, but regardless, I appreciate it. And we're going to use this during multiple demonstrations to see how it works. This connects to any kind of smartphone. Well, they have to be an Android phone or they have to be an iPhone, which covers the majority of the market. And thank goodness you can connect this to an Android, because Android is the majority of the market, and most companies seem to only make stuff for iPhones for some odd reason, even though iPhones are actually the lowest of the market. There are some hypotheses as to why that's the case. So let's cut on the phone, and as you can see, I have a beaker for a wallpaper here, and yes, I have cat girls holding up the current time. It's currently 16:57 hours, 4:57, and the cat girls are holding the time up. So what? You don't like my anime characters? You want to fight about it? Well, anyway, let's start this up, and we push the little connection button. Usually find pushing a couple times makes it work. Wait, and there we go. Alright, so we have 0.09 microsieverts per hour. Let's stick that right there. and we have 0.12 microsieverts per hour. Pretty close, don't you think? That's well within the standard error. So let's switch over here to dose. Let's reset this and get rid of the dose that we already have, so we can start over. Boop, no dose. Oh crap. So there's a dose rate, there's a dose. It does a bunch of other features, but all of these involve where I am and zooming in and following me around, and we're not going to do any of that stuff right this second. So let's put this guy right currently here on dose. At the bottom here, if you can see it, it shows the dose rate is 0.12 microsieverts per hour. We're going to take this and put it like right here, I think, for the majority. Oops. Majority of this. Get this a little closer. Come on. Yeah, hopefully that stays there. Alright, so let's set this guy up to search mode, and we're going to take a look at a few samples and see what kind of neutrons we can get. Alright, 13 counts per second, 0.11 counts per second of neutrons. Alright, first up on the list, some uranium. In fact, all of this is going to be probably uranium. I'm going to start out with uranophane. Alright? Uranophane, in this case, has a little bit of boltwoodite and looks like shoepite. Did I say that right? Shoepite? Lookout Mine is where it comes from, and this is in actually it's not Lookout Mine, it's Lookout 22 claim. Marshall Pass and Sagawachi, I guess, County, Colorado? Yeah, so I'm sure the hate mail from all the people that live there will start coming in. As you look at it, it's sort of a pretty little yellowy rock. The yellow comes from the fact that it's the high uranium content. So let's take this and put it over here and see what we get. Get that kind of in the middle. Alright, so we're up immediately to 3.8, 4, I saw 4, so about 4 counts per second of neutrons. 4 counts per second of neutrons. Who needs some kind of weird, exotic, strange neutron sample? This perfectly legal piece of uranium emits neutrons naturally as a result of spontaneous fissions. So the atom is not stable and it's wiggling around like this. And sometimes the nucleus finds itself in a predicament where the nucleus can come apart and rupture. It becomes more energetically efficient to break apart as it does this. The deformations in the nucleus can cause this. And when this happens, you get what's called a cluster decay, which is a small chunk of it flying out, or you can have an alpha decay, which is sort of like a cluster decay, or you can even have a complete and total fission of the nucleus, which is an asymmetric division of the nucleus. The result of that is almost always going to be a neutron. And as you can see, a neutron flies out as well as the 2 daughter nuclei that fly out. So this is happening all the time inside of the uranium. Those neutrons in the uranium are actually striking sometimes other uranium atoms and actually undergoing true nuclear fission. But it happens at such a low rate that it's not really particularly dangerous. You could not stack up enough of this stuff in a big pile with even, radiation neutron reflectors all the way around it to do anything particularly dangerous. Like, for example, a criticality incident cannot happen with this type of uranium. It's just too low in uranium. And that's why we don't have to worry about it. If this were plutonium, that would be a different issue. Actually, that smaller would still not be that big of an issue. But a big enough plutonium chunk, you could really cause yourself some trouble. Luckily, you can't own plutonium. That's not legal. So let's cut the detector on. And as you can hear, it's at a really, really high count rate. And if you turn on the inspector, we get a pretty good count rate off of it too. Alright, so 4.67 counts per second. The PoliSmart here is at 114. Let's move over here. Sorry, it's at 0.15 microsieverts per hour. If we put it much closer to the sample, like right up on top of the sample, that will change. It will take it a few seconds to change, but it will go up. The PoliSmart is meant for long-term analysis, by the way, not for short-term spikes. That's why it ignores most of them. As you can see, it jumped up. I found at higher dose rates, these two do reasonably match. So, but from a distance, like if you see over here, just a few feet away, you get almost no actual counts per minute. Just a little bit over background. So that's the reason you're not getting much off of this. Oh, it just became enraged because its dose rate was high enough. If we had left it here long enough, it would have gone up anyway. So let's get rid of the uranium. Can I hit this button and stop it? Shut up. Alright, so this is some shrockingite. This is actually from Hideout Mine, not Lookout Mine. Hideout Mine in White Canyon District, San Juan County, Utah. So, see? Pretty little sample. There it is. Nice. Look at that. And we're going to stick that right on top and see if we can get some neutrons off of this. Look at that. 5 neutrons, 6 neutrons per second. Not bad. Alright, so obviously we can definitely get some decent neutron radiation off of these samples, and that's kind of a neat thing. And as you can see, the PoliSmart is not happy at all. He's very upset. Shut up. Shut up. Perhaps that's not what makes it shut up. Ah, there we go. Now its first threshold's been set up to like some horrendous level, so it's not going to go off anymore. Alright, so 6 neutrons per second off of this shrockingite. Shrockingite's giving us 34,000 counts per minute. Much higher than we were getting off of the other ones. It's one of my more radioactive samples. And this would get up into huge amounts if I wanted it to. Let's pull that away. Now this is an interesting sample. I have actually not tested this sample yet, so we're about to test it. We're about to find out what it does. This little sample, I bought this myself. Oh wow, that goes bananas just being anywhere near the detector. This is one of the most powerful uranium samples I have, and I got this from Ruggles Mine, New Hampshire. I actually bought this. I found some nice uranium samples there, but I bought this one myself, just for giggles. Let's see if the black light shows anything. Nope, so no uranyl phosphates on it whatsoever. Let's take it and put it over the detector and see what we get. That's why I have the glove on, because stuff continuously falls. We're going to put the paper towel over top of it. I don't know why I have that on there, but for whatever reason I do. Let's see what we get. 7, 9, 10, 11, nice. 40,000 so far on the Lotham. 42,000 counts per minute. 43, 44. This right here is one of my most powerful uranium samples. That's from a distance. If I put it right up against it, it hits like 30 or 40,000 counts per minute when the alphas kick in. We're almost hard over on the scale, and we'd have to switch to the times 1000 mode if we actually cared to do so. So we're at 48,000 counts per minute with the scintillator. Alright, 13 counts per second with the neutron detector. I'm actually quite impressed with the amount of neutrons that we're getting off of this guy right here. So this is apparently my best neutron source. And it's perfectly legal, perfectly natural. You can find this if you live near Ruggles Mine, New Hampshire. You can apparently find this right on the ground. Just natural uranium. You can't do anything with it. All right, you can't turn it into anything bad. You can't do anything nasty or naughty with it. Not really. I mean, I guess you could like grind it up and eat it or something. But you just hurt yourself. And it's not really that hazardous from a radiological standpoint. The reason I'm wearing the glove is because of the fact that it's a heavy metal, not because of the radiation. Besides, the glove doesn't stop the radiation anyway. Well, it probably stops the alphas, but certainly is going to stop the gammas or the betas, or the neutrons for that matter. Alright, so let's move that out of the way. Now we've gone through a lot of different rocks and samples. Let's go for something just a little bit bigger and clumpier. This is a big chunk of uranium from United Nuclear. Alright, so United Nuclear sells these guys right here. This is a big clump of it. They sell some pretty looking samples, but the majority of the samples they sell are just a big chunk of uranium. Sometimes you just want a big chunk of uranium. Mineralogical Research Company is the company I get most of my good uranium samples from. They have like more museum quality looking stuff. And I'll put all the information in the details section. So let's put the black light on this. You think it lights up? No, not really. Flex the stuff in there. That's why we keep them in bags, son. That's why we keep them in bags. So let's put this over top of that big clump. As you can see, the Polysmart's been staying pretty close to the same dose rate for the entire time, and the reason is it takes a while for it to pick up unless it gets a really big spike. You notice that when I put it right on top of the sample, it got a big spike. The reason is it's not meant to be a oh my god radiation, oh my god radiation. It's meant to be a long-term dosimeter. That's what it does. So oops, let's go back and hit the wrong button. So we've only gotten from right over in that little point there 0.6 microsieverts so far for the entirety of this test, which is a very small amount. This isn't bad. It's 7 counts per second, but we don't touch the 13 off of the good sample I got from Ruggles Mine, which kind of looked like gumite. So I have to look back at my sample notes and see if that's actually gumite, but it kind of looked like gumite. Alright. Not a bad chunk of uranium right there. Alright. This is an interesting one. We'll leave you with one more. This guy also, this is a meta-autunite with phosphouranyolite. So this is uranophosphate. Get the little stickers off of it right here. Alright, so oops. Meta-autunite, Ruggles Mine, Grafton, New Hampshire. So let's cut the light off, and let's see if the black light shows anything. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but it is glowing back. At least for me, it's glowing back beautifully under black light. Now, I know the camera may not be capturing it very well, which is completely possible, but that glows back nicely, right? Because of fluorescence. So let's take this, put it on top of the detector, and see what we get. Neutron count's not too high. Not bad, not too high. Alright. Now that we've done that, let me just kind of put my arm up here, and let's do a spectrum accumulation, just for giggles, and see what we get for a spectrum. Pretty sure I already know exactly what we're going to get. I'm going to change the zoom as soon as it appears. Give it a few seconds. And in fact, we move the more powerful sample over here and see if that helps it a little bit. I don't really want to wait. Normally you'd want to give it a couple minutes for a good spectrum to form. There we go. Look how fast that one forms it. Beautiful uranium spectrum. Natural background radiation can be seen right there. Lead-214 is sitting right here. Bismuth-214 is right here. And you'll see that if we zoom in right here that there's some additional, here we go, some additional peaks down here from lead-214 and actinium and some other stuff. So, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gamma spectrum. And we don't see a peak right here, right there, so we know it's not cesium-137, right? Of course, we didn't think it was in the first place, but that's the reason we have a spectrometer and not just a plain Geiger counter, because we want to know the difference between the two. So this has been Tom from anti-proton.com. I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and the fact that you can find neutrons, they're actually there. I'm going to do a video in just a day or two. I'm going to start doing videos on neutrons, electrons, and so on. Again, I did these years ago when I first started, but I'm going to do them again. Quick videos, like 5-minute videos that just give you all the quick details on what these things are. So when somebody comes up and says, what the hell is a neutron, you could say, it's this, because I saw it in Tom's video and bam, I knew what it was. But, wow. Anyhow, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Seeing the latest in technology. I think this is probably the latest in technology. Bye-bye.